Hello, welcome into the CHGO White Sox Postgame Show, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app today and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Welcome into a remote version of the CHGO White Sox Postgame Show. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. You can follow the show on Twitter at CHGO_White Sox. Alongside me, as always, is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. No Vinny Duber today because it's kind of the holiday weekend. That's why we're working from home. So, Vinny took this day off. A well-deserved day because I think he's even going to be at the park tomorrow for Memorial Day. We'll talk about why a little bit later on, but a fantastic reason, or so I'm assuming. Hasn't been made official, but Steve Stone was talking about Liam Hendriks' parents being in Detroit. So I think it's fair to assume Liam Hendriks is coming back on Monday.
Yeah, and hopefully we see him late in the game, and the White Sox fans give him the standing ovation that he so richly deserves. And I might make it out tomorrow because we do have an off day. Me and you have an off day, and so it might be a nice night to go out and see the White Sox in their South Side jerseys, and then see if Liam Hendriks can lock it down. Hopefully, in the ninth inning.
Well, yeah, hopefully they're winning too. Hopefully they give him the chance to do something great. How great would it be? Liam Hendriks returning and the White Sox are down 14-3. Like Mike Trout has 2 home runs and is absolutely just tore up. But yeah, we'll see what officially happens. I know the latest report from Detroit was he threw a live BP on Friday, and then they were going to know more after that day, and Darryl Van Schouwen reported that his stuff is ticked up. So I think he's close enough to be on Liam watch, and it would have been weird for him to make his debut in Detroit. So it makes a lot more sense that he'd be making his debut in Chicago, right? I don't think that they're going to do it anywhere else than Guaranteed Rate Field. I don't know if it's going to be that like the first day. Do you think no matter on the 29th they're going to use him? Because we saw with Garrett Crochet, they didn't use him right away.
I mean, I think they're going to use him in the situation that he is comfortable in closing out the game. I don't think they're going to ease him into being a closer. Liam is not that guy. Liam's like, if I'm in the game, I'm the closer or close to the end of the game. So I think if they have a sizable lead, 3 runs or less, it's Liam time in that ninth inning. It's the 29th, the 30th, 31st, whatever day it is, I think he'll be in this homestand, as they have, I think, 6 games versus the Angels and the Tigers coming up in this next homestand.
We'll talk about Liam more later on in the broadcast, especially with how this game ended. Would have been nice to have Liam Hendriks today because the White Sox were coming to you live after a White Sox loss. 6-5, right? Steven, do you have a score graphic or
That's correct.
No score graphic? I know you're mad.
No score graphic on the stream yards here.
Were you so angry you had to go scream in your basement because you didn't have a score graphic on the White Sox loss?
No, I had to go scream at a dog that was on my bed and he's not supposed to be.
Great.
Yeah,
that's
so that's what I was doing.
Oh, good. Okay. You described this before we jumped on as the worst loss of the season. Herb, I don't know if you guys agree. If you agree, well, Steven agrees.
I want to talk about this because I have not had a worse feeling in my stomach after a game than this one this season. This was one they were supposed to win. Herb and I were talking about before the show. This is the second game in a row they snatched the lead back in the 7th inning, and then the bullpen just gives it up. I mean, they truly did just snatch defeat from the jaws of victory on this one. This is a game they should have won, and just mental errors just gave it away.
Yeah, and I feel like
defeat in the jaws of victory.
It's an idiom. It's like
is that right?
He did it opposite of what you're supposed to do it.
Oh, okay.
But,
all right.
Because
I'm
you're
sorry.
usually
I'm not
supposed to snatch victory out of the jaws of defeat. But the
I'm not well
read.
I'm sorry.
Too tough. They're just so and it's not even. I know people are getting on Joe Kelly, and that's a tough pitch that Riley Green hit. It's a low curveball, whatever. In that instance, I would love for my center fielder to play that as a double. Go after the ball as such. He is a Gold Glover after all. I'm not the reigning one, but he has been, and he's done well this year. And Luis Robert Jr. and he hadn't done well on that play specifically, and not just this game, not just Friday's game, and not just Thursday's game, but the collective games that Luis Robert played in Detroit. 0 for 12. You can't have one of your best hitters, especially on Friday. The White Sox broke out, got 12 runs, 17 hits. And one of the guys who didn't get hit was Luis Robert. The whole series, the man didn't contribute one single, not one. That can't happen as a superstar. And as I said before, he is held to a higher standard than all the rest of the players because he's the best player, potentially, but he didn't show up this weekend. So, yeah, I know people are second guessing Pedro on the decisions that he made. I think execution by the players is what cost this White Sox team not to get the job done both yesterday and today. Both, I think that's what I was talking to Steven about, the accumulating effect of the same thing happening 2 days in a row with the same pitcher actually giving up the lead, Joe Kelly, is kind of frustrating to White Sox fans. And then that top of that 10th inning is just the cherry on top of a shit Sunday where Alex Lang, Dickie wearing jerk, is throwing balls in the damn dirt. And you got Vaughn and Grandal just whiffing at these balls. Let him throw a strike. Just one strike. Then continue on with the bat. Please.
Hey, I mean, I think it is a long sleeve shirt that he cut the sleeves off of.
Okay.
I don't think it's a Dickie. I did a lot of Dickie research to find the right one. I think mostly at this point it's for clergymen. And I don't think Alex Lang's a clergyman. He threw 10 pitches. None of them were in the zone, which is just laughable. I think, though, it's at this point when they're 11 games under 500, just shows how bad they are. I mean, it doesn't matter, all the tweaks that Pedro does. We've said that managers don't matter. I don't think if it was Tony La Russa, this team would be any better. I don't think if it was Pedro Grifol, this team would be even any better. I think my guy was Joe Espada. I don't think the team would be better with Joe Espada. Like, it's on the players at this point. I mean, not only is Luis Robert making that interesting decision to try to dive and get that ball with Riley Green flying around the bases, and Jason Benetti thought it was going to be an inside the park home run. Would have been more efficient, honestly, because then we wouldn't have to see Tim Anderson botch a ball in the infield because they possibly still could have bailed Joe Kelly out. Like you said, that was a tough pitch to hit. And Riley Green, still great player. Fantastic catch on Jake Berger in center field as well. He's just one of the most intriguing players to watch in the AL Central right now. But Tim, infield chopper from Javi Baez, and he has the chance to make the play. Again, Riley Green's very fast. He's trying to make it perfectly, and he doesn't make it perfectly. Still is able to get the out at first, but the run scores, and we go to extras. I don't know if it's the worst loss yet because, I mean, come on. I think the worst loss yet was in 2022 when, it was really reality that this team isn't any good. I mean, we could talk about how bad the AL Central is. They're 11 games under 500. This is the second series that they've lost, 3 of 4 to not even the Guardians or Twins.
Yep.
They've lost 3 of 4 to now the Tigers and Royals.
Yeah.
And that doesn't give me a lot of confidence, even though May's been the quote unquote better month. They're still 11 games under 500. I mean, I still don't feel like that flip that switch has been flipped yet. See, I don't even know my own damn idioms.
But I also think to lose to the Tigers is even worse. I know they're playing better baseball, and by the end of this day, they might only be a game out of the AL Central lead, whatever. But look at the injured list. As we complain about people who are injured for the White Sox, they have a starting staff, a full staff besides Eduardo Rodriguez, out. Most of them on the 60-day IL. All the people they're counting on, they're not going to pitch. And they're just doing this with pitchers that we saw on Thursday. Who was that guy? Just trash. No great pitching, no great shakes. And Eduardo Rodriguez.
We covered that game. I couldn't tell you who pitched on Thursday.
Exactly. That's the point. This Eduardo
Michael Lorenzen walked him on Saturday.
Yes. And Michael Lorenzen, the last 2 times he's faced the White Sox, he's shut them down. You remember the Angels game last year? I think it was the Saturday game. The White Sox came back after Lorenzen left, and I think they almost got that game. I think it was 6-5. Angels won that game, and we were thinking, okay, that is a building block for the White Sox to do some things. I think they won that Sunday, and then a couple games after that, it looked like a a jumping off point, but the White Sox never had it. What, you got the guy's name now?
Alex Faedo.
Yes.
Yeah. And he set records for that team. I mean, he joined Denny McClain in 1965 and Anibal Sanchez in 2014 with 6 innings pitched, 3 hits or less. No earned runs and 10 fucking strikeouts. And I can't even remember the damn name because he's another guy.
Yeah.
He's just another AL Central right-hander who the White Sox can't hit. I mean, how can they not be prepared? These guys just stink. Like, I mean, Eduardo Rodriguez, I get that he's a high quality pitcher. And he's going to be tough to hit, but he's still a lefty. We saw the White Sox eat a lefty on Friday. Yeah. And I understand it's a little bit more difficult, but the only guy that's running into one is Romy Gonzalez. I mean, Andrew Vaughn, hey, it was good to see Tim Anderson get a double as well. He almost went 3 for 3, which was all right. But even then, Luis Robert, like you mentioned, like, I mean, you can't run into one. It's still opposite handed. I mean, it was frustrating. I mean, Jake Berger gave one a ride, but then again, here's Riley Green crashing in the outfield. He's really giving me Grady Sizemore, Torrey Hunter vibes. I hate that the Tigers have that guy. And I hope that Spencer Torkelson is just as bad as Andrew Vaughn, so we don't actually have to worry about the Tigers being good and feel like they wasted that pick.
That Zach McKinstry at the top of the order, former Dodger, former Cub. That guy, where did he come from? Like,
the Cubs.
I know he came from the Cubs, but he wasn't that. He definitely wasn't that with the Dodgers. But the Dodgers can't afford to throw outfielders who not that great away because they'll just find another one somewhere. But this McKinstry is like a 420 on base, about a 420 slugging, 300 batting average. The man is just doing work at the top of that order. I'm not saying that the Tigers are a bad team. They're a mediocre team. And they have players, like you said, that Riley Green scares me because he looks like he's going to turn into something really, really good eventually, like an all-star perennial every year. But
I mean, he looks like an all-star when he plays the White Sox.
There's nothing on that team that you're like, it's going to be trouble with that guy in particular. You got Akil Baddoo getting 97 up top and just having no problem with it, Dylan Cease. And I know we're going to get to him eventually, but very, very, very poor outing by Dylan Cease.
Yeah, I mean, it's concerning at this point, but concerning that it's the same shit he was dealing with. I think he can get back to what he was. I think he can get to that confidence in the mechanics because we heard Steve Stone being like, oh, I talked to Dylan today. You usually don't talk to starting pitchers on the day that they're starting. But he said, oh, we figured out the release point. We figured out the command. He was flying open, and him and Ethan Katz fixed it. Ethan Katz is one of the best young pitching coaches in this game. And it's just like, okay, in the second, third, fourth inning, bases loaded, grand slam. First grand slam he's given up since 2019. It's the guy that has led the American League in walks in the past 2 years. Like, I love that he's very consistent. He's always going to give you 6 innings. They might be brilliant. They might be a train wreck. And he might be able to minimize damage because it could have been a train wreck today. 4 earned runs kept him in the game. Dylan Cease isn't the reason that they lost, I mean, I don't think he is the reason. They had the lead, even after he left the game.
They did, but I think
the $9 million shutdown guy who is perfect for 9 games has to close down the damn Tigers. Like, I mean, Joe Kelly's got to step up and just, if you got embarrassed by them yesterday, you have to shut them down. I understand Riley Green's a great player, put in a great swing on that play, but like, I mean, Joe Kelly couldn't do it. Luis Robert couldn't do it. Tim Anderson couldn't do it. Yasmani Grandal couldn't do it. Andrew Vaughn couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. They couldn't make it work. They couldn't win the damn game against the Tigers. And there was something shared by Jason and Steve during this broadcast with the Tigers. And I think it was like Zach Short, another Cub farmhand who was like on deck, and they were like, we still have 9 more outs. And that's when they made the comeback against the White Sox. And it's like, are we having like, I mean, they have a better record than us. Like, we having that same vibe because we cover this team after every win.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
I don't see anybody saying that. They seem, after a while, I think after the Grand Slam, you sent a thing in our Slacks like, all right, here's the title of the program, because we felt that way. Like, even after they took the lead, I was like, Yesterday did the same exact thing with a furious rally in the 7th inning. They've done this multiple times where they look lifeless throughout the game, and then late in the game, with 3rd time around, 4th time around, they finally found a way. I mean, it started off with a walk, weirdly enough. But this team just can't afford all the stuff that's going wrong. And I would put this on Dylan Cease because the bullpen, yes, I know Joe Kelly makes a certain amount of money, but the bullpen as a whole covered 5+ innings, only giving up that 1 earned run that Joe Kelly did. So that's pretty good work. Dylan Cease going only 4 innings, I think, is atrocious. As your starting pitcher, as your top of the rotation pitcher, your guy, he can't do that. He can't put your team in the worst position to do that right there. And then, like, it's not that he was getting hit around. It was that he was walking people with non-competitive pitches. I don't mind if you nibble and the ump is like, nah, I ain't giving you that call. Or if you're around the plate, he wasn't around the plate on a multitude of these pitches. And it was very frustrating. It was reminiscent of back in the day where 2020 and years before, where he was just not confident in his pitches. And you can see the release point. You could see in how he didn't want to pitch these Detroit Tigers anything in the zone or where they can get any hits. Akil Baddoo just guessed. That's the only way you can get a high 97 mile per hour fastball out of the zone. He just guessed that it was going to be there, and he got lucky. But that happens when you throw a bunch of pitches. He got your repertoire down, and he's like, okay, he can't get his slider over. He's not throwing his changeup or curveball. Cool. He's got his fastball. I'm just going to guess.
I don't know. That's a major league player. I don't know about lucky. I mean,
no, I mean not lucky.
He knew a fastball was coming, and he hit the shit out of it.
What they call
he did the same thing to Lucas too.
Yeah, they just cheat. Like, it's not cheating as in nefarious. It's just he cheated and got the barrel going quicker than he usually would, and crushed that ball off the bat. And yes, celebrate all you want to. I saw White Sox fans some getting mad that Akil Baddoo was pumping up. It's like, the man hit a grand slam. Why is he not supposed to be happy? Come on now. Just because it goes against your team doesn't mean the man's not supposed to be happy and jubilant.
And that man hit a home run off Lucas Giolito, and I was like, and then they took him out. And I was like, man, that's a short end of the stick. You just gave your team some runs. Detroit Tigers don't hit a lot of home runs, and Akil Baddoo stepped up, hit a home run, and now he's getting benched. And that man's playing for a job. So shout out to Akil Baddoo. I mean, that helps him stay on the team, folks. He's 24 years old, 3rd homer now of the season. And he's got like an OPS of 112. So I mean, we better watch out for Akil Baddoo, because if he's shit talking, that might be the Detroit Tigers version of Josh Naylor, left-hander who just bashes a ton of homers off of us and screams.
I'm not happy about that. See, this is the thing. The White Sox allowed this thing to happen. Remember last year, I was predicting the Tigers are going to be 2nd place behind the White Sox because I saw all the Torkelsons and things and all the Mises and the Scoobles coming. I was like, they're coming. They're going to be here. They got a good manager too, and AJ Hinch. They struggled last year. But this year, I could see them winning the AL Central because that team, they're put together with glue and all the rest of that stuff on that starting staff. But that bullpen, that's a thing. If you have a good bullpen, and if they don't trade those guys off like they did last year, which they also had a good bullpen, I think this team can do some damage in this AL Central.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw Cleveland. I mean, you just got to be good enough. You just gotta hustle enough. And I love that to what Ozzie was saying. They cut away to Ozzie after the White Sox took the 5-4 lead, and he was like, "That's what wins games: base running and defense." Hey, Ozzie, what lost them the game? Defense. There's Luis Robert Jr. sliding out in center field, and there's Tim Anderson bobbling a ball that could throw out the tying run. Mercy. I get it. But also, it'd be nice, more home runs, because then you don't have to worry about defense. Okay. Just swing hard, hit it. I mean, it's like Andrew Vaughn is getting frustrating, but we'll take a break and we'll just keep talking about the frustration. At least I think we can agree on this. I agree with you all about the Dylan Cease stuff. We'll get into more of the stats as well. But I think maybe Eloy Jiménez and Romy Gonzalez get a pass today. Everyone else is kind of,
Yeah. If Tim didn't bobble that ball in the 9th inning, then he would have got a pass too. But yeah, you got to make that play. You're a major league shortstop. Majority of major league shortstops make that play. And you've had 2 in the last week. So you make one of them. I think most people are like, okay, at least he made one of them. He bobbled both of them and caused the team not to get an out. That was guaranteed.
And you know what sucks too? Like they emptied the bench. Benintendi was supposed to have a day off. Moncada was supposed to have a day off. Moncada hit and looked bad as a righty. And you're just wondering, like, oh man, hopefully they win this game. So Moncada, like, making his back possibly worse, like, is worth it. And there's another loss.
And thank you, Todd, for buying the shirt. We really appreciate that.
Do you want to plug it? You want to go? I mean, hey, rock and roll. And shout out to Todd. Todd's always very, very friendly.
Todd
and nice
said, I
on
bought
Twitter.
a CHGO Sox shirt only because it looks cool and to support Herb, Vinny, Sean, and Vinny. So I appreciate that, Todd. You're always checking it out and listening to our podcast after the day after and sending some Twitter messages. We really appreciate your support and everybody who's watching and or listening right now.
Absolutely. You can follow Todd on Twitter at ToddJDub. And you got the graphics, Steven? Todd took advantage of this wonderful sale, the CHGO Memorial Day baseball sale. I am washing the CHGO Script Show shirt right now, so I am now being able to wear it. But 33% off all baseball shirts, May 27th to May 29th. So ending tomorrow on Memorial Day. And you could even get the new shirts for 33% off, home of the North Side Baseball Club and home of the South Side Baseball Club, the kind of South Side, North Side thing that we just made. And also the Vibes Are Immaculate shirt. I know Cardboard Socks are Kentucky. Oh, look at this. Look at Steven. Our Kentucky Sox fan. I think we had a 3-game winning streak when he wore this and just didn't wash it in 3 straight days. So shout out to that. You can go get the Vibes Are Immaculate on the back and the It's Always Sunny on the south side on the front because summer is here and you can get 33% off. All right, let's take a break and let you know about Fubo TV. That's how I watched the game today. And, this is how excited I was, Herb, about this. The people who aren't on the podcast can't see this, but look at this. I mean, they made it easy to watch at my house. Steven, look, Steven's laughing. Steven's enjoying this. I'm giving it a thumbs up. You can get in the little split screen on NBC Sports Chicago, and it's Crystal HD TV. It is fantastic TV service. I've had many of the different, online TV services, if you're cord cutting, and Fubo is fantastic. My favorite part is the 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. So if I missed the game yesterday, I can catch up this morning before the White Sox take on the Tigers and or the Sox take on the Tigers, and I could be all prepared for my job. But maybe you missed a crazy moment. Maybe you missed the 4 overtime game between the Panthers and the other team. And you could go back on Cloud TVR and watch it that way. They have 140 live. The Hurricane, 140 live channels of sports, shows, movies, news, and you could stream live TV from any device. I was able to stream it from my phone when I needed to go down to my basement for laundry, and I was streaming it to my TV as well, as you saw in that picture there. And you can watch local teams while traveling as well. And you can watch the White Sox on NBC Sports Chicago, just like I did with Fubo TV. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. And
Sean,
also,
do you find it weird that a team from Miami is playing the Hurricanes while a team from Carolina is playing the Panthers?
Yes.
It's very weird because their football teams, the college football teams, the Hurricanes.
But the NFL teams,
Panthers
the Panthers.
Yep.
Okay.
Just switched.
No, I get it. I never thought about it that way. You broke my brain. I always like the quiz question. The 6 teams, the 6 professional Big 4 that share nicknames.
Okay.
Rangers. We don't have to get distracted. Maybe I save this for a Friday.
Okay. I know Rangers.
Right. There you go. 1 for 1. Good job, Herb. Steven, can you get any? Herb broke me, but it's easy to break me. I'm just slow.
Are we talking? Would you say original 6?
No, just 6 teams that are named after each other, like the Rangers.
That would be way too slow.
Texas and New York. Giants, New York, and
it's a Sunday, so I'm just operating at like 75%. All right, let's
Panthers.
Let you know about Goose Island. If the White Sox are making you sad, no way to pick yourself up than with lovely beer. It's Memorial Day. I'm gonna have a day off. You're gonna have a day off, Herb. So why not crack open a Goose Island? CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company. They've been Chicago's beer since 1988, and their beer roster includes the Goose Island IPA, Tropical Beer Hug, 3-2 wheat ale, and the full pocket pills. Memorial Day Goose Island beer draft. If you have to have one tomorrow to cool you down on Memorial Day, which one are you taking?
Neon Beer Hug.
Okay, that's the 7%er.
Yeah, yes, like they're all like the three of them are all together like 6.8, 1.7, 1.72, and then the Tropical Beer Hug is like 9.8 almost. Then I'll go 3-1-2 because that's a everyday drink. You could just smash like 5 of those and be smooth. And then that full pocket pills. I'm not even an IPA guy, but I have the Neon Beer Hug as my top beer because it's just not like knocking you over the head with hops, which I don't like those IPAs that do that. This one doesn't do that.
I believe they're dry hopped, or that just might be the Imperial IPA for the Tropical Beer Hug. But grab it, an ultra fresh brewery exclusive beer at Goose Island original brew house on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or from their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Goose Island Beer Company is Chicago's beer. Okay, so I wanted to go to the chat where, the Kings are one of them. You can also say the Jets, Winnipeg, New York. Oh my God, where is this going? Shane. Good afternoon. It is a good afternoon. It's a beautiful day, Herb.
It is.
The White Sox keep losing baseball games, but it's a good afternoon. The White Sox would have to go 63-44 the rest of the way to win 85 games. My preseason prediction was 83 wins. They'd have to go 61-46. And what I'm going to tell our lovely, lovely listeners right here, right now, all 61 of you, I really don't think they're going 61-46 for the rest of the way. Rick Hahn said they had to prove it. We've seen 55 games of this team, and they're worse than 81-81. They said they needed to prove what last year was a fluke. And what we know about flukes are, as office watchers, flukes are one of the most common fish in the sea. Okay, so the White Sox being 11 games under 500 shouldn't be too surprising, and they haven't proven much. So, the whole 61-46 to the end of the season, they need to start a double-digit win streak for that to be serious. They need to actually be in first place. It was nice to be 5 games back of the AL Central at one point, because that's now just completely gone. You know what I'm saying? They've never proven it yet. This team just had a horrible day. They needed Dylan Cease to step up, and he absolutely didn't. They needed the offense to step up against Eduardo Rodriguez, run him out of the game, and the only guy that stepped up was Romy Gonzalez. And you can't trade him because the White Sox don't have a lot of major league players. That's why Yasmani Grandal was begging Rick Hahn not to trade Romy Gonzalez, because he's at least quad A talent.
Yeah, and I wonder tomorrow. It's the beginning of a homestand. We didn't get it at the beginning of the longest homestand of the year, the 9-game one that just happened when the White Sox were a guaranteed rate. Wonder if my general manager and your general manager, Rick Hahn, will speak and address this media and the fans by proxy about this team that is currently 22-33. Will he finally actually speak to the guys? I know he spoke 2 homestands ago, but that's a long time ago. He needs to address why this team still sucks and what he's prepared to do about it. So, because I can't stand, and that's one of the things I hate about Ryan Pace the most. He would hide. He would talk at the beginning of the year. He would talk at the end of the year. No other time. Not to the local team. He would give those softball questions from Joniak on the regular broadcast. It's not Joniak's fault for asking those questions. He's part of the broadcast. He's part of the Bears. So I want Rick to actually take some questions. And tomorrow, during Memorial Day, I'll be watching. I'll be hoping that Rick speaks with our guy, Vinny Duber, who will be back at the ballpark tomorrow, and the assembled media, because he needs to answer for this crappy team.
I'm not sure if he will. Liam is likely coming back. I don't want to announce that because we don't actually have any sources that are confirming that he is coming back. But I think it's 90% safe to assume that Liam will be back.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good reason for the general manager to address the media. So if Liam does come back, I think he likely will today or tomorrow, because your all-star closer coming back I think that's a reason to be at least talking about the person and what he has gone through as a player and as a leader for your club. So I would be surprised that if it's not on Monday, it's on Tuesday, just because of Liam's likely comeback. Because, hey, maybe he pitches on Monday and then Rick can talk about that. And then maybe they let Monday be about Liam and Liam's return. So I thinking about this logically, I would be surprised if he doesn't speak at all in the next 2 days.
I mean, yeah, he has to speak one of these 2 days because I can see him hiding behind, oh, this is Liam's day, guys. This is his press conference. I'm just here to answer questions about Liam, type of thing. And then going another homestand without asking questions. Because the last one was, it's Jose Abreu's day, and he's coming back to Chicago. I will not speak. He didn't say that, but that was what I got out of that. He needs to answer for this team. Like, why is your best player going through hot and cold stretches consecutively? Like, how does on the surface of the sun one stretch and then the coldest the next? You can't have that. Why the inconsistency of your player? Why haven't you coached this out of the player? As I've said before, when he is hot, we need to be more consistent. The stretching out of the great player that Luis Robert is, and so the exception is the cold streaks, not the norm. But I just need to hear from him. He needs to have some accountability, since he's never going to get fired because he's the one who apparently doing his own hiring or firing. The accountability will be with the media, which went on him really hard the last time, which well deserved. And this time I hope they don't let up. Put the pressure in.
Well, that's
what the fans want to know.
Well, and that's why I think that he might just avoid talking on Monday so Liam has his day, and then therefore he can answer questions about Liam and the team on Tuesday. Maybe that's me wishful thinking. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of this with the biggest brain possible, and that's my thought. But I mean, what is he going to say? You know,
hey, we need to find solutions, and hey, I need to send up my resignation if this doesn't work.
He ain't doing that.
He needs to say that. That's what a stand-up GM would do, being on the job for 10 seasons and only going to 2 playoff series and losing both of those subsequently.
I don't disagree.
I mean, if I was bad at my job, which professional sports jobs and regular people's jobs, totally different. But I wouldn't want to step into the job knowing every day that I'm giving my team worse chance to win just because of my presence, just because of the stuff that I'm doing. We've talked about the Andrew Benintendi stuff ad nauseum, but it needs to be talked about even more. I thought this weekend, perfect opportunity versus some AAA pitchers that Detroit has called up here to pitch, that Andrew Benintendi would find one, go down the line, hit the fair pole, whatever. No, not close. He's a defensive replacement today because there was a lefty in there. If you're getting taken out because there's a lefty in the lineup, not because there is, you just struggle versus that one specifically, and you are the guy that signed the biggest offseason contract for the White Sox, not just the biggest of all time, just that's what they went out and got. You were the offseason, pretty much, you and Mike Clevenger. To be off on a day like today, I just don't understand it. I understand that Eduardo Rodriguez is left-handed. Damn it. If you need an off day as a left-hander versus a left-hander, then you're not a player that should be getting a big-ass deal like that.
Well, my guy, I didn't see this originally because I'm now blocked by Steve Stone, but my guy tweeted out on the 27th yesterday, Andrew Benintendi goes about his job quietly and professionally every day. He has great at-bats and plays brilliant defense in left. He hustles on everything. Great addition to this team. His contributions cannot be overlooked. He also helps balance this lineup as a lefty bat. And it's like, they suck against right-handers. They are horrible against right-handers. Like, when we think of the good lefty bats on this team, we think of Yasmani Grandal, Yohan Moncada, and Gavin Sheets, and 2 of the 3 are hurt half the time. Like, and then Andrew Benintendi gets on base, hopefully. He had the 10-game hitting streak. What's it at now? I don't
even remember.
John Becker of Fangraphs quote tweeted screenshot of the Steve Stone thing and said he has a 91 weighted runs created plus and -1 defensive run saved. Right, like he is below average at defense. He hustles. I don't even know if he hustles. He is out there every single day, except when an elite to above average left-hander is out there. He's not a game changer. The White Sox needed a game changer. The White Sox needed somebody to hit one home run, because if they got one more home run, they might not have been in the situation where one run ties the game in the ninth. They just needed another Romy Gonzalez prayer hope to go over the wall. And Jake Berger almost did it.
Yeah. Thanks to Fred and Dan with their comments. We appreciate you guys checking us out here on CHGO White Sox, because this team is sucky, and to watch those games and then have to listen to us bitch about it might be tough. But Fred says he only checks in with the game so he can watch us. That's cool. I appreciate that. And Fly the Dub, I see your message. But you say if the White Sox players underperform, Sox blame Hahn. Who brought these players in here, Fly the Dub? Who's the guy who brought them in here? Yeah, you put it together. It's Rick Hahn. That's why we blame him, because he put this team together. He had plenty of time to do it too. He's had 7 years now? Or 6+ years into the rebuild. So yes, I'm gonna blame him. Kenny Williams, not necessarily Jerry Reinsdorf, but his atmosphere of being the owner creates the atmosphere below him. So as the great line goes, attitude reflects leadership, and the leadership comes from Jerry Reinsdorf. So yes, Rick Hahn is the front-facing voice of the White Sox, because Kenny barely speaks. So I'm going to blame him when the players don't perform well. And we give Sean a lot of crap about his Andrew Benintendi hate, but it's not because he was on the team now. Sean didn't want him before we were all talking about this free agency, and I thought Sean was crazy. I was like, Sean, anybody would be better than Andrew Vaughn in left field. So they get any of these guys. A beggar like myself can't be a chooser. Give me Benintendi. He'll hit his home runs, and we still got to bet that he's going to hit double-digit home runs, and that's why I'm getting much more mad, because I got to pay Sean $100.
Your wallet's shaking.
He doesn't do anything on the field where he was promised to do these things, and I get mad and madder at Rick Hahn, because then I look over on the north side where they just sent Nick Madrigal down to AAA, and we were told that guy was going to be an everyday second baseman, a smart base runner, plus runner, great defensively, and he was bragging himself, Nick Madrigal, that he's going to be a 3,000 hit guy. This guy was wrong. Rick Hahn is constantly wrong about his draft picks, constantly wrong about the players he brings in via free agency. How many times did we have to DFA one of the guys that Rick Hahn brought in the middle of the season, giving them money just to chill out? Larry Garcia has $11 million he's just chilling out with, because Rick Hahn paid him $16.5 million on a 3-year deal. You could say that's Will's Tony's guy, but Rick Hahn put pen to paper. He's the general manager. He gets the blame. So there's so many times that I see people just pass by Rick Hahn's culpability in all this stuff. If there's anybody who's most culpable, it's him. He's persona. He's the person that you would point the finger at, saying this is why the White Sox are not good. There's blame to go everywhere, but Rick Hahn gets the share of that. He should get the share of it. And I don't see it reflected that way in media, in the Twitter sphere, White Sox Twitter, whatever. Yes, there's a lot of people blaming him, and they love it. But there's a lot of people also holding on and saying, well. It's like, what has he done? What does he do well? Please tell me. Nothing.
I don't see a lot of that. So I'm unsure. I feel like most people blame Rick Hahn, and someone say, fly that up saying blame the players. I don't see where we're not. I think that was the first 20 minutes of the show. It was Robert's mistakes, Tim Anderson botching the ball in the field, Dylan Cease, pitching poorly, all the lack of offensive output outside of that one big inning in Romy Gonzalez's shot, right? Everyone is at fault here. They're 81-81 last year, and they're 11 games under 500 now. So it's not only Rick Hahn's fault. It's Kenny Williams' fault. It's Jerry Reinsdorf's fault. It's Tim Anderson's fault. It's Luis Roberts' fault. It's Tony La Russa's fault. It's Pedro Grifal's fault. Hell, probably even Don Cooper's fault a little bit. Why not? It's a big piece of pie that we're all sharing here. And hey, I think even Rick Hahn would throw, at least like maybe a sliver to the fans. It's a little bit of the fans' fault too, right?
Yeah, because we're too gleeful when this all breaks up or whatever he
We
said.
wanted this. We wanted the rebuild to fail
instead of them winning. Ugh, just an insufferable, smug dude. Fred says it right. If Rick Hahn built a better roster, Andrew Benintendi could just be a piece, not the highest paid, needed to be a centerpiece. Right. That's perfectly put, Fred. Perfectly put.
But we've said this too. Like, I mean, Luis Robert is supposed to be the guy, and it's very important that he's playing in all these games. I understand that, people are frustrated with the 3 strikeouts today. You did drive in a run. You need all of them in games like this. He's still playing, and I understand he made a bad play out in the outfield, but that's the superstar, and the big issue with him is he hasn't played 100 games. So let's see what Luis Robert can do in 156. Because maybe he'll get hot again, and by the middle of June, he'll be at 20 home runs and surpass last year's home run leader. So it's a frustrating series. Let's see how they bounce back. We'll take a quick break, and we'll let you know about some of our great sponsors, and then I think we got to maybe touch a little bit more on Liam, Cease. Anything else?
I mean, I'm just, before we go to this break, kudos to Eloy, kudos to Tim on both tagging up there and showing some speed. Both of them. Tim back to looking like, well, he didn't tag up, but the contact play, looking like elite Tim speed. And then Eloy, that ball wasn't hit to deep left center. It was pretty much shallow left center, where Baddoo doesn't have a plus arm, but Eloy's speed looked really good, and he looked confident in that head first slide, which I never liked, but whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, they showed on the broadcast, the second it hit Baddoo's glove, Eloy was running home. So just, great timing on that base running, and perfect slide right there, got home. Again, the White Sox should have won this game. Even with all the mistakes, even if Joe Kelly wasn't able to get out Riley Green, it's just a team loss, because, Eloy can show that speed, and we've seen some of that athleticism before. I mean, I go back to 2020. I mean, it's not crazy that they thought that he could be an outfielder. It's just that he consistently hurts himself, and he doesn't have strong enough legs. And even when he's running home, it does seem like it's a little bit slow. And I understand he's just coming back from, sitting out in the sidelines for 3 weeks. But even then, did you see the quote from Pedro on why Eloy's back up?
Yes.
He was sick of Charlotte, wanted to try a different affiliate, and I guess he just kind of got bored with minor league baseball, so he's just back.
Yeah,
well, right. I guess he's going to be playing baseball either way, so I guess he's, I mean, hey, why not have him do his rehab here?
Yeah, I mean, I read it as he has been in Charlotte way too much because of his injuries, and then he wanted to try a different minor league city, which he has been at Birmingham before. So he just wanted to go to Alabama instead of North Carolina. But if he was brought up earlier than he's supposed to be, I mean, that is White Sox way. Another thing I hate about the team and how they go about their business, and having these players rehab on the fly here. 3 weeks, I don't know. 3 weeks for appendectomy, I don't know. But I know 7 days is way too quick. Adam Dunn.
And yeah, I'm not saying that he didn't look bad today, Dan. He at least had that nice bloop, drove in the run. He was able to get home and do that successfully. And I think he also drew 2 walks as well. So, I mean, he was on base, and I'm not complaining about the job he did today. It's just, will he be here? And hopefully he will, because I want to see as much of these guys as possible. Let's take a break, and then we'll talk a little bit about Liam Hendriks. And Dylan Cease, I guess. We'll take a break.
Yeah,
we'll take a break. We'll take a break. All right. Want to let you know about FOCO. They have given us some lovely set decorations. We're remote right now, so we can't see them. But go search their website, foco.com, or click and look in the description below. For online presale items, you could use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. They have hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. They have a really deep catalog of bobbleheads, and it's fun to get lost on their store. So get fitted in the best sports gear around with our friends over at FOCO. And with it being spring and baseball season, you can get Aloha shirts, straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need for a game over at FOCO.com, FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below for online presale items. Use that promo code CHGO for 10% off. Thank you again, FOCO, for being such a great sponsor. And Herb, I hate to put you on the spot here, but as a friend,
yep,
the comment, and you know this, the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses. And I honestly I know you know this so well. I want you to pull up your phone or speak from the heart and just start taking over First Reader, because you know about what they do, ComEd, in the communities they serve, right?
I do usually, and my phone is way over there, so I'd have to turn off the computer to do it. My bad.
You're fine. You're fine.
I can do the middle part though.
You have what part?
Where you say, "What do you mean?" Well, how does it work, Sean?
Here, just say this. Go to private chat and say this. I'm so sorry, folks. This is my bad. I'm always goofy.
Oh, of course, Sean. You've jogged my memory.
Yeah, what do they do in the communities they serve?
They help manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future, Sean.
Oh, of course. ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across the territory. And ComEd offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities like for HVAC system, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes, Herb.
Sean, how does that work?
Oh, Herb. These people at ComEd have been around for a very, very, very long time. Commonwealth Edison, right? I mean, yep. Thomas Edison. I mean, that guy it's definitely older than me. But they are a very certified and authorized business, and they're going to send an authorized engineer that will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. And these can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. And within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they could start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, potential incentives, and simple paybacks. And if you own a business, do not wait. Get started today by saving money and energy. For energy saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz.
Was that ComEd.com/poweringbiz, and the biz is spelled B-I-Z?
It was. And did you start smelling the smoker in my neighborhood too? I have the windows open and it just smells like someone's smoking something. So I did say ComEd.com/poweringbiz, and I am hungrier than I was before I started this ad. All right, let's.
Great neighborhood. I probably would not be smelling that because I live on the 4th floor here, and no one has a grill below me.
Oh, real quick too. Shout out to I made some food last night. Hi, Steven. Steven, as our meat expert here at CHGO.
I'm liking this.
Socks. You're liking it? Did I do a good job with my dinner last night?
Yeah, I like the cookie guy on the steak. A lot of people would go a little bit more on that, but I think it's perfect right where it's at.
I was trying to do more. I can't lie. I ended up getting it rare.
I would say that's rare.
It was fine. It was, I was happy with it. It was edible. Me as an Irish person, I usually burn everything that I cook. So rare is something that I rarely do. But I know people eat steak rare. So got that rare. The other one I cooked was medium rare, so I was happier with that cook. But use code CHGO Socks over at Omaha Steaks. Our friends at Omaha Steaks, and get $30 off. They sent us a lovely package. We got some filet mignon, as you saw there, sliced up. I got some chicken tenderloins, chicken breasts, pork tenderloins, and then they gave us dessert as well. So it was a fantastic package. So if you're looking for something Father's Day especially, go use code CHGO Socks at checkout for $30 off. All right, let's get into the final thing I want. We can skip the C stuff. I mean, he needs to be better. 8 strikeouts, but I mean, it really was just inconsistent release point. I mean, that's the easiest way to be succinct about it. 4 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 4 hits, 8 Ks, 4 walks. I mean, it was just 2021, 2022 Dylan, where he's unhittable, but it's just not in the zone ever. So Ethan Katz and Dylan Cease need to fix it up. I mean, Steve Stone was talking about it. It seems like they were very confident that they had fixed it going into today, and we did not see those results. But I want to go more to Steve Stone. All right. My whole bit last year was enjoying the ride or being better. And I'm at a crossroad here, because I'm at the point at 55 games, we know what this team is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one of the main storylines that is coming up this week, and blank names looking for an update in, is Liam Hendriks, all-star closer, returning after his battle with cancer, and winning his battle with cancer, for or having his cancer go into remission. Just trying to properly term that. But like, should I be bitter with that storyline going on? I understand that the record is so frustrating. We talk about all this blame and people needing to step up and resign, but I don't know. I'm just this guy coming back. It feels tough to go to the bit at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Where are you on the bitter to enjoying the ride scale? You in the middle? You leaning towards bitter? You leaning towards enjoying the ride? What's your gauge?
Never, as a fan, I don't think I could ever fan for a team where I'm enjoying the ride. That doesn't work for me. If I fan for that team, I have to feel like the team is giving me their all for me to enjoy the ride. Like, that's why kind of the Padres having a disappointing year is kind of fine with me, because I know they tried to do well, even though the players are failing right now, especially the hitters. I would say that with the White Sox, I am, if anywhere, like closer to being bitter, because how can't you be with this team and this organization? And so I don't know how one would enjoy the ride. If you out there are enjoying the ride, God bless. You have found a way where these games don't take too much out of you emotionally, physically, and you're just enjoying the games. That's what I do kind of when I'm at the actual ballpark. That's what I'm trying to go to tomorrow, because one, Liam Hendriks might come back and I need to be there when he does. And then secondly, it's an off day, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani. I'm going tomorrow. All the reasons to go tomorrow are there except for a winning squad. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to be into the game because I enjoy the atmosphere at guaranteed rate. And no matter what, I'm going to leave that game happy, even if the White Sox don't play great. So at games, I guess I'm closer to enjoying the ride, but otherwise I am closer to the being bitter part.
Yeah, me too. I mean, after this loss, it's just like, oh my God, I can't deal with this team, just because it's like, we were promised that they were going to prove it. And man, I have not felt that at all. Like, we talk about complete games where they're winning, and man, they've put a lot of complete losses together, just offensively, defensively, managing. It's just been sloppy. But to blank name, the last update that we have is Liam Hendriks threw about 19 pitches when facing Elvis Andrus, Adam Hazley, and Sebi Zavala before Friday's game against Detroit. I'm reading this from the Chicago Tribune of Lamont Pope. Pedro Grifol said it went well. His numbers were really good. Hendriks built on a previous session, May 19th, at Guaranteed Rate Field and Monday in Cleveland. He's working his way back, obviously, from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And Pedro said that he ticked up from Cleveland, a good step in the right direction. We'll sit down and evaluate it as an organization and see what our next step is. I don't think that there's going to be a return to the minor leagues. It seems like Liam is just kind of done with pitching in the minor leagues. That's why I'm assuming, third time's the charm. He's done a little bit of work in Charlotte already. It feels like this is the time for him to return, and not trying to put pressure on this, because obviously it's a very sensitive thing to be returning from. But I think the word hasn't been put out yet, because maybe he feels differently tomorrow. But I feel if, he feels ready to go and 100%, I think they do activate him.
Yeah, and I hope that happens tomorrow, because I think that will be uplifting both to fans seeing him on the field and to his teammates going through what he had to go through and beating it in less than 5 months is miraculous. Nothing short of miraculous, but also, if you look back, you're like, yeah, Liam, guy's been pitching with a torn UCL for 9+ years. Yeah, that guy can do it.
Right. The guy who is not afraid on during the All-Star game while mic'd up to just be dropping every swear in the book. That's our guy. I'm very excited to see him back. We will have an episode tomorrow. It is pre-recorded. We're drafting AL Central cities to vacation to, because not only is Memorial Day synonymous with its actual meaning, but it's also synonymous with traveling and maybe a little vacation. But obviously, the most important thing about Memorial Day is the actual meaning and all the veterans who served this country and passed away while serving. And we do obviously want to give a tip of the hat and recognition to all those people because obviously we're getting the day off tomorrow. So we want to recognize why we're getting that day off. And as Dan says, thank you to all the vets tomorrow. Not today, because tomorrow's the actual holiday, right?
Yeah.
Look at that.
And just a pet peeve of mine. I know you said it, but tomorrow is about the people who have passed while serving this country, not necessarily about the vets who are still with us.
Yeah, people who were
after
died in battle.
Yeah, and so I want to salute them on their own day because the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms that we enjoy, whatever you believe in politically, whatever, these people have sacrificed for our ability to do a silly podcast about a terrible team. Like, where else is that happening? You know, I mean, it could be happening in England too. But they don't have any shitty teams, do they? Soccer? They don't have any shitty baseball teams. I know that. But really, seriously, like the people who served and then passed away in that service is like could not give a bigger salute to you guys because that is something that I wouldn't even fathom about when I was a kid or as an adult, and the even going to the army and then giving the ultimate sacrifice. It's more than heroic. It's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and kind of back to back here. Dan says he was there for 2 tours, so obviously thank you for your service, Dan. But Blank Name saying you're right. It's about those who pass because you can think of a veteran every day of the week. I just thank Dan, So we could thank Dan while he's here, but unfortunately, there are people who made that ultimate sacrifice. So we'll remember them tomorrow. So enjoy your Memorial Day and just remember that. I never know how to phrase anything like that. So there you go. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. The phrase Happy Memorial Day, just it's not, is it?
Yeah. Just peace be with you on special Memorial
Peaceful
Day.
Memorial Day.
Yeah. Something like that.
A rememberful. That's not a word.
Yeah.
I hope you reminisce this Memorial Day. Okay, we'll end the show. Bye.